Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, here once again, back after a 2-day disappearance. I know it was so long, right? But anyways, yeah, we're back with more Caesar. Uh, it's kind of funny, even though it's been like 2 days, really, since I've watched. I think it kind of feels like forever because my memory is horrible. But I believe we just Caesar. We feel like us we're the ones who are the ones that's like invading the north right now. Yeah, kind of like a Caesar, kind of like invading like the north, the Gallic. They're kind of going. He's going north and kind of gaining more land. I guess more like status and yeah, he's just heading north and just gaining more land area, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's been pretty cool. And apparently this one is Caesar in Britannia and Germania. So that's cool, right? I know that Rome took. I guess what it's Caesar then that takes over like half of Britain, and then make that like that cool wall that goes all the way across Britain, which I believe is still there. Parts of it's still there. If I think I believe from other like documentaries I've seen where the parts of that wall's still there. Pretty sure, not 100%, but I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah, but I wasn't sure if it was actually Caesar was the one that kind of is the one that took over it. So I'm not sure if they're gonna. Does he take over it? I don't know. We're gonna find out anyway. That's the whole point of watching the video, right? So, but anyways, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button below. And I thank you for some of the in our community page. I asked people just to leave suggestions for like maybe like another series after this one. And some of you guys have already been posting on there, and some of you guys have already been liking some stuff. So that's awesome that that post is actually getting a little bit of traction. So part of me was a little bit afraid that I'd make this post and no one was gonna say anything. They'd be like, "Oh, okay, nothing to go off of. Great, yeah." But you guys have been awesome, and yeah. So I guess let's get to the video. Is there anything else I need to go over? I think I'm missing something, but I don't know. This is gets to the video. I'm boring. The videos are the ones that are exciting. Kings and Generals, guys. Another awesome channel we're checking out. I'm sure I'm gonna be doing a lot more stuff from this channel. If you guys haven't like noticed, like when I like a channel, I end up doing like a lot of their stuff. Just because when you're familiar with the channel and you like how things are done, you tend to want to continue to do that stuff because you can expect like quality work. You expect to like it. Let's get to it. In general.
Gaius Julius Caesar's campaign in Gaul was a resounding success, with many decisive victories allowing him to conquer vast territory, making him rich and powerful. However, the political situation both in Rome and Gaul, coupled with Caesar's ambition, didn't allow him to sit idle, and the general would become the first Roman to invade Germania and Britannia.
So basically, yeah, he's got to keep going. Because the people, the other part of the Republic, I guess in Rome, not really liking what he's doing. So if he just sits back and just stops what he's doing, he's probably going to get like maybe his power stripped or something. But he's kind of has to keep going to prevent, these other powers that be to turn against him. So he's got to stay strong, and so yeah, he's just got to keep on going.
This video is sponsored by Imperator Rome, the newest historical grand strategy game from Paradox Interactive. Build a glorious empire out of blood and marble. Take the reins of power over any of hundreds of ancient nations, including Rome and Carthage, as you slowly expand to dominate the classical Mediterranean, Europe, and India. Expand trade, build roads, and command armies. Ordered that a fleet be built in order to take on the Veneti navy.
Hold on.
But compare in the description of Caesar and Hannibal in.
Sorry, time out. I thought that was still part of the game, so I'm glad I didn't really notice anything. But then they start having the serious voice, like I don't know, the Caesar. I don't know. Never mind.
Imperator Rome, coming April 25th. You can support our channel by buying the game via the link in the description.
This will be a good game now.
By 56
Okay,
BC, Caesar had subjugated the majority of Gaul, either through conquest or political alliances, and was beginning to look for new opportunities to expand Rome's influence.
Because before, like, man, he's taken out a lot of area. It was just like this little area right here. But now, his influence, man, it's pretty impressive.
It was beginning to look for new opportunities to expand Rome's influence. But not all the Gallic tribes were taking kindly to Roman rule. One such tribe was the Veneti, located in modern Brittany.
Oh.
Despite signing a peace treaty with Caesar the year before, they reneged on this promise and captured a few Roman officers. As a largely seafaring nation, the Veneti were confident that they would be able to put their faith in their navy and force Caesar to make concessions. However, Caesar spent no time trying to negotiate, instead seeing the act as a direct declaration of war, and marched on the tribe. Initially, he found little success. Due to their large navy, the Veneti were able to effectively hop from town to town, moving entire populaces and their belongings, denying the Romans a pitched battle or siege. Standard Roman tactics proved ineffective, therefore, and it was clear that, in order to win, Caesar had to defeat the navy.
Alright, interesting. We're kind of getting like a different scenario. It's not like, ground war, where it's a different game, the Navy. So, Caesar going to be building a Navy here? Is that what we're about to see here? Or we're going to see some, I don't know, secret tactics going on? I don't know. Let's find out. I like where this is going.
And it was clear that, in order to win, Caesar had to defeat the navy. With no navy on hand, he ordered that a fleet be built in order to take on the Veneti navy. But compared to the Roman ships, which were designed for the Mediterranean, the Veneti ships, designed for the Atlantic, were much stronger and taller, and the Romans found them impossible to ram or board. It was only through the ingenuity of one of his legates, Decimus Junius Brutus Albinus, who suggested that they use billhooks to cut down the sails and cripple the Veneti boats, that Caesar was able to defeat their navy.
Wow.
With this issue sorted, it now seemed that Caesar would be able to move on to new conquests.
I just want to say that ended a lot faster than I thought. I thought the whole video, like half the video, would be them trying to duke it out back and forth. It's already over. It was definitely wrong.
Sorted, it now seemed that Caesar would be able to move on to new conquests. Once again, though, his plans were put on hold in 55 BC, when yet another roaming German horde, composed of Usipetes and Tenchtheri, began threatening the Rhine border. These tribes previously rivaled the Suebi, but were now fleeing in huge numbers, Caesar giving their total number, including civilians, as 430,000. They had already slaughtered the Menapii.
I'm sorry, I just want to say, I think I see a couple of people kind of mentioned this in the comments. I think I kind of maybe commented on this in the previous video. A lot of this is from Caesar's account. Was it like Caesar's journal or his log or whatever? So this is all from Caesar. So when you get like one side of the story here. So obviously his victories, he's most likely he's gonna even though he might be fighting like 50,000 people, but he'll say 100,000 people. Just it makes his story and his victories, makes himself look like more of a hero, and all that. I forget what the word I'm trying to use it, but anyways, yeah. So I think sometimes in our mind we got to take into account that kind of stuff, like the numbers he's going against probably a lot more even than what he kind of bases them on. But anyways.
As 430,000. They had already slaughtered the Menapii and stolen their ships in order to cross the river, and were now pouring into Gaul. Upon hearing about this, Caesar was once again compelled to act, as he was worried that the Gauls might join the Germans in an attempt to oust the Romans. Some Gallic tribes in the Rhine Valley had indeed sent emissaries to the Germans, providing them with food and intelligence, encouraging them to move deeper into Gaul. Caesar gathered a council of Gallic chiefs and convinced them to provide more cavalry for him to confront the Germans. This served two purposes. Firstly, Rome's cavalry had always been lacking, and the Gauls were renowned horsemen, and so filled a crucial role in the army. And secondly, because cavalry was composed largely of nobles or wealthy persons, they would act as hostages, ensuring good behavior. He then gathered 5 of his legions and headed.
I never really thought about that. So he's taking all these people's cavalry. He's not just taking it, but they're obviously they're giving them to him. I guess they can borrow them. So he has all these rich people's horses, which cost a lot of money, and obviously these people are not going to want to turn against him now because they don't want their assets to get killed. So it's definitely a smart move there.
Ensuring good behavior. He then gathered 5 of his legions and headed to the Rhine.
How fast he was.
The Germans had sent a portion of their cavalry ahead of their main force in order to carry out raiding missions. But hearing that Caesar was getting close, they sent emissaries in order to delay him. They asked Caesar to negotiate, claiming that they were only in Gaul because they had been forced to flee from the Suebi, and promised to ally with Rome if Caesar could provide them with land in Gaul. However, Caesar suspected that the Germans were delaying and continued his advance. The envoys continued back and forth as Caesar continued to progress towards the German camp, sending forward his 5,000 cavalry as an advanced force, but with orders not to provoke them into attack. However, upon seeing the Roman cavalry separated from the main force, the Germans fell upon them. The Romans initially tried to hold their ground, but were eventually overwhelmed and retreated to the safety of Caesar's camp. Caesar likely underplays the amount of casualties taken, giving the number as 74, but he does mention that 2 brothers of the famous and influential Piso family had died in the fighting, something that Caesar could not let go unpunished.
Well, yeah, he's got to say in his account that these 2 people, or whatever, important people died because people back in the Republic or whatever, they're going to find it anyway. But I can totally see, him saying his numbers, his death on his side was down compared to what it probably was because, he doesn't want anything negative to be looked upon him. I mean, if he loses a lot of men in a battle back home, people are not going to think so highly of him. So,
family had died in the fighting, something that Caesar could not let go unpunished. Refusing to hold back any longer, Caesar gathered his force to attack the Germans. But before he moved off, the Germans sent a party of diplomats, including high-ranking nobility, to treat with Caesar, once again asking for peace and apologizing for the attack. As the Germans had already attacked apparently without provocation, Caesar refused and took the delegates as prisoners. Nice. He then drew up his army in 3 lines and moved swiftly to the German camp. The Germans, assuming that Caesar still would have been delayed by their envoys, were caught completely unaware. The legions fell upon their camp. Caesar brushes over the details, but it seems to have been somewhat of a massacre.
What?
The fleeing Germans were pursued by the Roman cavalry. Some made it across the river in their boats, but many tried to swim across and drowned.
Damn.
Hearing of the defeat, the German cavalry, which had been pillaging, returned across the Rhine. Caesar's army had taken minimal casualties.
Wow.
You're a superhero, though. You probably do awesome stuff like this all the time.
Dang, you think they'd be ready?
No, not exactly like this.
I mean, I don't know how many days maybe went by between them sending the diplomats and then Caesar made him prisoner, and then them pushing for. I don't know how much I believe a time period between that is, but I don't know. You'd think that they'd have someone there on the lookout just to see what's going on, to relay messages, and I'm caught off guard just like that. Wow.
It is important to note that while Caesar portrayed this as a great victory against a marauding Germanic horde, this is not how others saw it. To Caesar's political rivals in Rome, Caesar had broken the armistice with the Germans by antagonizing them with his cavalry, imprisoned diplomats, which was effectively a declaration of war, and then carried out a massacre, including civilians.
Okay.
Caesar needed something to distract the Senate and win the minds of the people, so he decided to boost his popularity by doing what no Roman general had ever done before: crossing the Rhine. The Germanic tribe Ubii offered its ships, hoping that the Romans would assist in their war against the Suebi. Caesar, however, deemed this unworthy of the Roman people, and instead decided to build a bridge across the Rhine between modern Andernach and Neuwied. It was an engineering marvel. The legion's engineers used winches to act as pile drivers, driving stakes deep into the river, and constructed the 140 to 400 meter by 7 to 9 meter bridge in just 10 days.
Wow.
Caesar found the land.
Like that big, strong river, 140 meters across. That's long, man. Gee, is it? It just, I guess the mechanical, whatever, technological, whatever you want. I can't say it. I just, 10 days, man. When you think of it now, when people build like a bridge, I mean, they'd be building a bridge for like 6 months before any kind of like, I guess a bridge in that distance, actually something like that would probably take it's probably taking like a year these days. I mean, it's 10 days. It's impressive.
And beyond the Rhine almost deserted. Taken aback by the Roman speed and their feat of engineering, the Germanic tribes in the area had retreated deep into the Germanic forests, where they had amassed a significant army. However, Caesar had no desire to be caught in a prolonged campaign in foreign territory against a notoriously dangerous enemy. He spent just 18 days on the German side of the Rhine, burning villages and crop fields before returning and dismantling the bridge.
Huh. Wow.
The campaign was a proof, not only to the Germans but also to Caesar's rivals in Rome, that he could overcome anything and do as he pleased. Caesar's next ambition, Britain, was once again a perfect propaganda target. The island was on the edge of the known world and rumoured to be a land of monsters and vast riches.
So he's out here doing all these campaigns out here, gaining land and everything. And I guess the other Republic leaders in Rome were just kind of sitting around waiting just to get the next newspaper to see what's going on with Caesar up north. They're not doing anything. I mean, Caesar's smart. Like, everything just seems to be in his hands. It almost seems like he could just march back south with his army, but I understand why he doesn't, because he needs the people back in Rome to like him, because you can't really just come over and take over, because then the people will turn against him. So yeah, I understand that he needs to make these victories and have the people in Rome, get their the buildup of Caesar, and so when eventually when he does return, everyone sees him as a hero down there, and he'll be able to take over really easy because that's what the people down there want, and he can probably just march down and I'm probably getting a way ahead of myself. But that's kind of what I was thinking.
It had remained effectively untouched, and bringing it into Rome's sphere of influence would be a significant achievement. According to Caesar, the Britons had provided some of the Gallic tribes with the resources needed to make war. While this was a weak casus belli, Caesar was, by now, effectively doing what he wanted with little oversight. He began gathering intel from the Gallic merchants and sent a small reconnaissance force to the island, whilst he mustered the ships he used against the Veneti and prepared to cross with the 7th and 10th Legion.
Okay.
He set sail from modern Calais and safely made it across with most of his army, but his cavalry had been delayed by bad weather. The Romans saw the Britons had amassed along the White Cliffs of Dover in huge numbers, with infantry, cavalry and chariots, and with every warrior painted in fierce blue war paint. Caesar moved further down the coast in order to find a better place to land, but was shadowed by the Britons' cavalry and chariots, who were easily able to keep pace with the fleet. When the Romans finally found a suitable beach, Caesar arranged his transport vessels into a long line with his warships on his flanks and ordered his men to disembark. As the transport vessels had deep keels, however, they were still some way from the shore, and the legions were forced to wade in waist-deep in water to try and reach the beach. The Britons saw their opportunity and attacked, firing missiles into the ranks of the legionnaires as they struggled through the water, weighed down by their armour. The Briton cavalry charged in and out of the Romans, the height advantage of being on horseback, allowing them to fight much more effectively than the Romans stuck in the water. The legionaries were taking significant casualties, and seeing this, Caesar moved his shallower-keeled warships up the flanks so that his missile troops and ballistae could fire into the Britons' sides. Still, the legions were wavering, with some men not even being willing to get off their transports. It was not until an eagle-bearer of the 10th Legion leapt into the water and waded towards the Britons that the legions rallied and rejoined the battle in earnest.
Oh, wow.
The fighting was fierce and contested, with the Romans gathering to their nearest standards to try and maintain some form of cohesion, while Caesar used rowing boats to ferry men from the transports to areas where the Roman front line looked to be in danger. Finally, the Romans were able to push through the shallows onto the beach, where their organisation and heavy armour could come into play, at which point the Britons broke off and retreated. Caesar, without any cavalry...
I just want to say that when I think of like Britons and like the Romans, it made me think of what was that movie called? King Arthur. You know, where you had the warriors with the blue face paint, how they're more of like a guerrilla warfare, I guess, kind of people, and it reminds me, like, I guess that's what comes to mind when I see like the two sides in battle and stuff like that. And but like, wow, they got off the, that was that had to be scary though. I mean, you see the guy with this blue war paint and the cavalry just like coming along the beach and just wiping you out, and you're just trying to slug along with all his armor weighing you down, man. That could not have been easy, man. Just to that feat of getting on land. That's pretty impressive just on its own. But I got on there, man. I was probably thought that this was going to end in defeat, and they were going to have to get back on their boats, and they were going to kind of go more up along the island or something. But no.
The Britons broke off and retreated. Caesar, without any cavalry, had no choice but to let them escape. We don't know the numbers of dead on either side, but being a contested landing, it's likely that the Roman losses were greater.
Yeah.
Following the battle, the Romans established a camp on the beach, and the Britons sent delegates to sue for peace, probably to assess the Romans' purpose in the area. They were on home ground and could afford to wait to see what Caesar's next move would be, whereas Caesar, with no supply line, would be pressured to make the first move.
True.
Caesar accepted the peace, and the Britons sent a small number of hostages, promising more later. The cavalry that had been waylaid did try and cross once again to meet Caesar, but were caught in a storm and forced to turn back. This same storm damaged the ships that Caesar had anchored off the beach, demoralizing the Romans, who could no longer escape the island.
Wow.
Salvaging what materials he could from the most damaged ships, Caesar began repairs. He sent one legion at a time to forage for food, whilst the others defended the camp on the beach. However, whilst one of the legions was out foraging, The camp watch reported seeing dust on the horizon moving their way. This, combined with the lack of the promised extra hostages, was enough to alert Caesar to what was happening. He gathered 2 cohorts and marched quickly to the legion's location.
Yeah, man. Looks like Britain's
These are
fixing
the people
to
who
turn
work on the
on.
front lines. They need a network that's built right. That's why we created Verizon Frontline,
All right.
the advanced
Come
networking
on,
technology
commercial.
built right for first responders.
It's getting exciting. All right, here we go.
Whilst foraging, the legion had been ambushed. Scattered and focused on collecting food, the Britons had been able to kill a substantial number of them in the initial attack. The legion had managed to regain some level of discipline, snatching up their weapons, but they were surrounded by the British cavalry and
Oh,
chariots.
damn, they're gone.
British charioteers were trained to throw missiles from their chariots and then dismount to fight on foot before hopping back on the chariot when the fighting got too hard in order to regroup. This gave them the staying power of infantry and mobility of cavalry, a tactic Caesar admired, but was now taking a heavy toll on the surrounded legion.
Oh.
Upon Caesar's arrival with his cohorts in formation, the cavalry and chariots retreated. The Britons had no desire to fight heavy infantry in formation in a pitched battle without their own infantry support, and allowed the legion to withdraw to camp with Caesar. However, bolstered by this success, the Britons amassed their full force of infantry, cavalry and chariots and marched on the camp.
Uh-oh.
Caesar drew out his legions to meet them. So far, he had been fighting in difficult circumstances, in water, in ambushes, against a highly mobile enemy. But this was an ideal situation for the Romans, where their formations and discipline could truly make a difference.
I was just now thinking that because, they're lost getting off the boat. Man, they didn't have they had the worst situation, and then they're being surprise attacked in the woods. It's not like they had a fair shot at him, but like, this is what Caesar wants, like head on. And I don't know, Britannia should have kept with that old thing, just sit back and let Caesar, kind of just do his thing, because Caesar's gonna have to go and still like go grab food because he's not a supply line. So I think this is kind of Britannia is just kind of a mistake by them, because they were doing pretty well, but this is like they were saying, this is like Caesar's, this is his bread and butter here, just head on combat.
For the Romans, where their formations and discipline could truly make a difference. The Britons charged, but in these conditions, the Romans had a significant advantage. Whilst the chariots and cavalry had proved highly effective against small groups of Roman infantry, with the legions in a cohesive line, they now had little effect. The Britons quickly caught on to this fact and disengaged, their chariots and cavalry leaving the battlefield. The Roman infantry was now able to surge forward and catch a portion of the Briton infantry, routing it completely. The Britons were excellent at hit-and-run tactics and ambushes, but in set-piece battles, the Romans were far superior.
Right. Wow.
Once again, the Britons sent a peace delegation, and Caesar, knowing that his options were limited, and that he did not have enough resources to carry out a full campaign, accepted and then hastily withdrew from the island during the night. However, on his way back to Gaul, 2 ships were blown off course in a storm. 300 Romans were stranded and surrounded by a Belgae tribe, the Morini, who Caesar had only recently subjugated and were keen for spoils and revenge. The Romans were assailed from all sides with missiles in hit-and-run attacks against their small group.
Wow.
Caesar caught wind of this and gathered as much cavalry as he could to personally lead them to the men's rescue, managing to ride down the Gauls and save the Romans with only minimal casualties.
Wow.
Labienus would later be sent into the Belgae territory to winter there and reinforce Roman rule in the area. Neither the invasion of Britain nor this foray into Belgae territory were significant military.
Man, I thought those guys were gone for good, man. Wow. Yeah, it's cool, Like, I almost thought that, Caesar was intended as a lost cause, and then they would all die, but he rushed to get his men, man. So that had to make, like, not only the ones that he saved feel good, but the other ones on his watch, like, he really cares about it. He's doing everything he can, to make sure we survive. So that was a kind of really neat bit. But they're having so much bad luck across water. Apparently, every time his cavalry was trying to cross, bad weather. He comes back, bad weather. I don't know what like I said, I'm not from Europe. I'm not from the UK, so I don't know how weather in the water is like along here. But you guys have like a lot of storms here. Maybe somebody who lives around there can let me know, or just maybe just bad luck for him in this time period. I don't know. Anyways.
To winter there and reinforce Roman rule in the area. Neither the invasion of Britain nor this foray into Belgate territory were significant military achievements. However, they show why Caesar was so loved by his men. He was brave, achieving things no Roman had ever done before. He was calm under pressure, and most importantly, he would lead from the front and showed that he cared for his soldiers and was prepared to risk his life to save them. The Britain campaign had not achieved much for the Romans, but it did provide Caesar with crucial knowledge about the Britain's military, the climate, and the level of preparation that he would need to succeed, lessons he would learn from for next year. Moreover, the Roman public and Senate were amazed by his feat of crossing the Channel into unknown territories, and a full 20 days of Thanksgiving were declared to recognize his achievement.
Wow.
Talking about the historical...
Wow. Part of me thought that because the people in the Republic, didn't like what he was doing. So part of me thought, like, it'd be more like propaganda back there and trying to, like, downplay it and trying to, like, turn the narrative against him. But apparently not, man. They celebrated and everything. Like, it was so good that even the people in the Republic, they couldn't really do much about it. And he's just building himself up even more back there in Rome, So that was pretty cool. So kind of like a reconnaissance mission. He went over there, scout everything out, and like I said, so if he wants to return back, he knows what to expect, what he's getting himself into, the tactics and everything. So that was really cool. Definitely liked that video, and definitely surprising because I thought, I didn't realize that this area was called the same thing. And I don't know, just a cool like battle, the skirmishes and everything. I think all that was really cool in this video. So definitely very informative. He's gaining more land, gaining more fame. Awesome job, Caesar, man. Definitely proved himself to be a true leader. And we're still like in the beginning parts of this series, so it's really really interesting. And really looking forward to what has to come. But anyways, guys, please hit that like and subscribe below. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you continue the journey along with me. This is very fun, and it's like every time we get a new series, especially I guess some of these long ones, it's I don't know, it's just kind of like you don't feel like you're rushed. It feels like you kind of just gradually get into like the show, or it's kind of like a movie. You're kind of just going along with the flow. I guess it's kind of like a TV series, and like the one part is just kind of like a movie. It's like a one-shot deal. But anyways, guys, yeah, like I said, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace. Catch you guys in future videos. And yeah, I'm out of here.